Apparently, the scribes who aided Muhammad in writing the Qur'an were influenced by uncanonized books and heresy, which is unfortunate because now I have to undo their ungodly mess. Who are you going to believe wrote the truth? The Word incarnate or the unlettered prophet? My guess is that the Gospel of Barnabas that the Muslims are so fond of is not the exact same book as an earlier work by the same name that had been banned by the church because it's clear that it wasn't written by a Jew, but rather an Arab whose intent was to advance the Islamic faith. Believing that God has no children enslaves you because it means that the best you can hope is to be a servant of His. He who protests you protests me. After further study, I think it would be proper if I spent a moment adding a little more to what I said about all other sins being outside of the body, except sexual immorality. While it is true that the Bible does say this, it also says that the heart of man is filled with all unrighteousness, which seems to indicate that not all other sins are outside the body, as previously stated. Apparently, it's not as simple as I made it appear when I used that as an example of why smoking cannot defile the temple, which is the body. I still believe that smoking can't defile the body because it's not what goes in you, but rather what comes out of you that has the ability to do that. However, this still doesn't clarify why all other sins except sexual immorality are outside the body, if in fact most of them proceed from within, unless of course you consider the verse that says, if a man lusts, he has already committed adultery in his heart. Real discernment is also when you compare it to what the church has traditionally taught, to see if it is true or not, in addition to comparing it to the scriptures. The Muslim practice of using dirt or sand for ritualistic washings, if water is not available, doesn't really make much sense to me. How can dirt, or water for that matter, possibly make a person clean enough or pure enough to enter God's presence? Only the blood of Christ, which is always available for believers, can do that. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Watch me, oh watch me. There are times when I get so mad that it seems like the devil has come right out of me. Maybe that is another reason why, in all honesty, I can only say I think I'm Jesus instead of saying I know I am. Because you would think that sort of thing shouldn't happen to one who might be the Messiah. Some think that if I was really Jesus, I would know that I am instead of just thinking that there's a 95% chance that I am. However, since most prophets have shown at least some level of hesitancy about who they were and what they were supposed to do, why should I be any different? You're like Thomas. You have to feel the whole holiness. You have to make sure whose side I'm on to see if I hold the whole holiness true. The passage is referring to the Holy Spirit, who is in complete agreement. Allowing yourself to walk in the cleansing spirit of the righteousness of Jesus is all that is necessary to be completely clean, because it will eventually end up affecting everything you apply your hands and mind to. Helping others do likewise will enable them to be clean also. Christian Islam is the answer. One nature, one person, two natures, one person, two natures, two persons, a deified human, a humanized deity, the God-man, man only, God only, part man, part God, truly God, truly man. What makes me God incarnate is that I am a human being with the Spirit of God in me. As the chosen vessel for His Spirit, it was predestined that I would submit my will to His will. While in the garden praying, Jesus' human nature began to sweat the fact that it was about time for Him to physically die and shed His blood as the chosen vessel, which makes Him the cup He asked to have taken from Him.